Money is something we all have. Whether we have little of it or a lot of it, money is something that has definitely passed through our hands today. Most people don't think much about money. We simply use it. But money is something that if you pay attention to it, it can change your life. I didn't grow up with a life fund that my parents have saved for me so that when I become 18, I get. But one thing that I grew up with is a strong desire to learn about money and to become wealthy. It is a continuous, lifelong journey. But in today's video, I'm going to share with you some of the most life-changing, mind-blowing lessons that I've learned about money that has changed my thinking about what it is to make money or to build wealth. If you pay attention and apply these lessons, they could change your life. The first money lesson that I learned is the difference between a rich person and a wealthy person. In very simple terms, one person produces money and the other person simply earns money. One person can only afford purchases while the other person has options. A rich person may have iPhone 15 Pro, which is the latest iPhone in the market. That is the best iPhone that money can buy. And a wealthy person may have the same iPhone 15 Pro. They both could use the phone for the exact same things, making calls, writing emails, taking pictures, making videos for their family. But the difference between both of them is if the iPhone breaks, it gets lost, it gets stolen, one person would maybe bothered by the cost of replacing it or be bothered by the cost of fixing it. The other person would just drop the phone and get another one the next day, right? Cars is something, another thing you can think about. A rich person may be able to afford to buy a $50,000 BMW. And that could be the best BMW in the market. A wealthy person could also drive the same exact car. The difference between both of them is if they are both in traffic, right? If they're both in traffic and they're going somewhere, the rich person may have to sit in traffic and wait until traffic clears. The wealthy person can abandon the BMW for his driver and take a helicopter to their location. One person has more options, than the other person who just has purchases. And I think this is where the whole keeping up with the Joneses advice comes from. You can buy the same thing that a wealthy person has, but don't make the mistake of thinking that because you dress and you look and you smell like a wealthy person, you have the same options that a wealthy person has. The second lesson is that the purpose of money is not just the things we're able to buy with it, but the options we're able to create with it. Growing up as a child, when people came to our house, they just give me like 20 naira or 10 naira, like a small amount of money. It's like saying someone gives like $1 or something as a kid. I, being the child that I am, immediately I saw that money, what I thought about was how many pieces of candy that money can buy me, okay? So someone gives me 20 naira and I'm telling myself, I can probably buy 3 biscuits and 2 sweets with this money. So every time I saw money, I wasn't actually seeing money, I was seeing the things that I could buy with it. And I carried that mindset for such a long time. Whenever money came into my account, I immediately reframed the money from just like the money to the things that I could buy with it. But then, as I learned the first lesson, this second lesson actually started making sense for me. In the sense that as I make money, I can make a conscious choice to use that money to create options for myself. Your income for the year could be $200,000. But that does not mean that you have $200,000 worth of options. But if I take the money that I'm earning and maybe I save it or I buy an asset, I'm giving myself options. I could decide next week that, I want to take a gap year, and the money that I have created, that I have saved, right, gives me the options to either work or not to work. The third lesson that I learned is that wealth can only be built by owning assets. You will get rich by working and being frugal and saving all your money in the bank. That will get you rich, which is not bad. But being truly wealthy, where you have options, that can only be gotten by controlling assets. And think about it, any truly wealthy person that you know, they have one form of asset or the other. Check the Forbes list of wealthiest people in the world. Many of them became wealthy either because they owned companies, they owned real estate, or they had inheritance from assets, right? Very, very few millionaires and billionaires got their money through just a job. Assets are basically things that hold value and whose value increase over time. Immediately I learned this lesson, I realized that, by having just a 9 to 5 job, I'm just basically trading an asset also. I'm trading my time asset. I'm going to work, I'm giving them 14 hours a day, I'm giving them 16 hours a day, and they're paying me. And that's fine. But I also have the power to create other assets. There are many other assets out there that you can create, and I hope this lesson encourages you to go out there and think about assets you can create. And one example of an asset is a book. If you write a book, it becomes a bestseller for the rest of your life, okay? You will always get money anytime someone buys that book. You can write the book, you can spend 3 years, 3.5 years writing a book, and then launch it, it becomes a bestseller, and you don't have to keep writing that book for the rest of your life. So there are many different types of assets that you can create, and I really hope that this lesson motivates you to go out there, think about assets that you can create to build wealth. The fourth money lesson that I learned, and this lesson really opened my eyes and explained a lot of things about my choices to me. And the lesson is that every financial decision is an emotional decision. When people think about money, numbers, people think about being rational. Everyone is like, oh, when it comes to my money, I'm rational. But actually, in real life, research has shown us that most people are actually emotional with their money. I learned this lesson while I was studying to become a chartered financial analyst in a branch of finance called behavioral finance. Two people could earn the same amount of money but have different emotional reactions to that money based on numerous things. Someone that grew up poor and someone that grew up rich, they think about money in very, very different ways. Someone that grew up during a recession and someone that has never experienced a recession before think about money in very, very different ways. The way we think about money is coming from a lot of places. How they saw their parents behave with money, what they heard on the news about money, their own failures or successes, with money. All these are coming together to make your financial decision a very unique and emotional one. And when I learned this, I was like, wow. And the way to mitigate this, or the way to prevent yourself from making emotional financial decisions, is understand your money mindset, understand your money triggers, understand the psychology behind how you spend money. When you are self-aware about the emotions that are driving your money, it is a liberating thing to happen to you. And let me know if you want me to make videos about money mindsets, about money triggers. I'm very, very happy to show you guys how I understood and I'm able to leverage my emotional mindset, background, everything to make sure that I'm making the right money decisions. The last money lesson, which I think is most common, is to not discount the power of compounding. Compound interest, I remember when I learned about compound interest in primary school. I did not understand it. It was a simple formula that I learned, in school like everybody else. But as I began to save and invest my money, I was amazed by the power of compounding. I feel like compounding and the tortoise have a lot of things in common, right? There's patience, there's consistency. Think about it this way. You start out with $100 and you invest that money for a year. And then you get, let's say, $5 on top of that money. But what happens is next year, and this may look very little, what happens is by next year, your principal is now 105. And the interest that you earn on that money is now a little bit higher than $5. By the third year, your principal has compounded. You actually are earning interest on your initial principal and the accumulation of every interest that you have ever earned on that money. And this is why people will tell you that, tell you to work and save your money. And if you save your money in 50 years, you can eventually become, a millionaire. And it's right because of the power of compounding. Think about Warren Buffett, for example. Everybody knows him. Warren Buffett is the golden example of the power of compounding. But Warren Buffett started investing at the young age of 10 years. So by the time Warren Buffett became 30 years old, he was already a millionaire. That's 20 years of compounding in action. And the crazy thing about Warren Buffett's wealth is that 81.5 billion of his 84.5 billion net worth didn't come until his 65th year birthday. So when you think about it and you think about, oh, he's so rich, he's a billionaire, you also have to think about the amount of time that he has spent patiently every single day, increasing his net worth, every single day, believing in the power of compounding. And when I learned this lesson, what it taught me was to not discount your starting points. Like, if you have anything you have, that you are able to part with and invest, do it and give it time to grow. Those are the two things. It's like whatever you have, put it in and start investing, and then leave it alone. Let the money remain there consistently. At the end of the day, there truly is no way to get rich quick, get rich overnight. Every overnight success has behind them hours and hours, sometimes years and years and years of silent, quiet, patient, consistent hard work that is fueling the success that you now see, in that moment. Those are my 5 greatest lessons that when I learned them, wow, blew my mind. And I hope that this video has been very enlightening to you. If you really enjoyed this video, then you will enjoy my video about investing in yourself, because at the end of the day, you are your greatest asset. So check out that video and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.